Our next guest argues that, well, everything is stupid these days, so you might as well laugh about it. Joining us now to discuss is author and supply chain consultant Jim Nels. Jim, you're on vacation. Thanks for joining us tonight anyway. So what do you have for us this week?
Aloha, Kara. Greetings from Maui, the land of Mai Tais, poi, and volcanoes. You know, I was really hoping this week would make things less stupid since I'm on vacation, but sadly, no. My first version of this went 45 minutes, but I figured that your producers and your other guests wouldn't like it. So let's jump right in. The first one is really, really important to me, and it's about education. We're really facing an educational crisis in this country right now. This week, a Nevada middle school teacher called white people problematic and education in general racist in a series of TikTok posts. The teacher has claimed that dress codes are sexist, education is inherently racist, history is whitewashed, and white teachers are problematic. However, if you'll notice, she's white, and I don't believe she's resigned to help fix the problem that she's identified. Now, not to be outdone, we have a Maryland teacher who describes herself as, I quote, proud as F to be a liberal, bragging about how she indoctrinates her students to become liberal automatons and believes that teachers should use their platform to turn children into anti-racists. I don't know what an anti-racist is, but probably not something that we want our kids to be. But wait, there's even more. A Minneapolis science teacher is using her TikTok platform to espouse anti-capitalist and anarchist philosophies. She's part of an organization called the Industrial Workers of the World, which is apparently some ideological union with ties to both socialism and anarchism. But Kara, it's interesting. State legislatures are like, hey, hold on, we can do even better than that. In an attempt to outdo teachers, the New Jersey Attorney General has filed a civil lawsuit against a township over a policy that his office argues discriminates against LGBTQ students. Apparently, it is discriminatory for school staff to notify parents of the gender identity and sexual orientation of its students. A similar thing is happening in New Hampshire. Kara, I remember when my daughter was in second grade and she went through a 1-month period of wanting to be a boy. She wanted to be a boy because she didn't like using the girls' restroom because it was too far from her class, and she wanted to be able to use the restroom that was closer to her. If this had happened today, they would be giving her a new name. Her name would have gone from Sally to Bob, and she would have been given hormones. Maybe I'm just old or old-fashioned, but I don't ever recall my teachers asking me about my sexual orientation, and I don't understand how it's a crime to inform parents about their children. It really, really frightens me. Now, speaking of crime, Kara, you and I have talked a lot about how crime in stores are happening and stores are having to shut down. This week, Target, or as I like to call it, the Red Circle Boutique, announced that they had lost an additional $500 million from organized retail crime. They didn't lose $500 million, they lost an additional $500 million. So-called experts are blaming the popularity of online marketplaces, which allows you to anonymously sell goods. But I kind of think it comes down to we don't enforce the law. We have cities and states that have passed laws saying you can steal up to $1,000 a day and you won't go to jail for that. And then we arrest the security guard who tries to stop the thief from leaving the store. It's insane and it's crazy. And guess what? It is stupid. Speaking of stupid, let's go to Congress. The debt ceiling remains in the news today. Joe Biden decided to go over to Japan and fall down a flight of steps. But don't worry, Republicans and Democrats still can't come to an agreement about the debt ceiling. And now the Democrats are talking about using something called the discharge petition, which would allow them to force a vote raising the debt limit with no exceptions. There are only 3 Democrats who have not signed on to this yet. There's even been talk by Hakeem Jeffries talking about invoking the 14th Amendment, which some liberal lawmakers and liberal scholars believe would allow the president to raise the debt limit without congressional approval. Kara, I got to ask you, how awesome would it be if we could be members of Congress and if our household budget got too tight, we could just print more money, and if we couldn't live within our means, we just vote to give ourselves more means. I would love to live in that manner, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, and it's insane that our elected officials have neither the discipline nor the patriotism to get our economic house in order. Now, speaking of insane, I go back to my home state of Illinois. The U.S. Supreme Court has refused to overturn an Illinois law that bans the sale of so-called assault weapons